Steve West back here at the Modus Super Series. We just want to take an opportunity to learn a little bit more about your career, where you came from. So I'll start at the start, really. Where did your sort of love affair with darts begin?
My mum used to follow darts all the time. My mum and dad split up when I was like 2 or 3. And when I used to go and visit my mum on a Saturday afternoon, it'd be World of Sport, Jockey Wilson and all the like throwing darts. And I just watched it with her. And she had a dartboard in the bedroom and we used to throw on that.
And when did you realise that you're actually pretty good at it?
It wasn't until, it's funny, my brother was in the wrong sort of crowd at the time, got stabbed 3 times, and I was playing local league pub darts with my mum and a few others. So I asked him to come along, he played, and then he won the Arlo Open at a local and got us to play Super League. And it weren't till then I knew Super League existed, and I followed, and then things just progressed from there.
Well, so your career kind of started because you wanted to keep your brother Tony out of trouble?
Pretty much. I got him out of trouble and then put him in the spotlight, if you like, and then he sort of carried me through that spotlight.
And you have had a career that spanned a long way back now, had some success in the BDO, now WDF events. When did you really start thinking it could be a career for you?
Well, my brother, he moved to Holland in 2003 when he won the windmill. And I went over to the Dutch Open for a weekend. I loved it and ended up sort of coming back, packing a bag and going back and staying for a long time. So, you know, it was sort of then. And that's when my darts sort of picked up and progressed a little bit more.
What do you think is the sort of highlight of your career? You look back, you've beaten Phil Taylor on the big stage, you've beaten Michael van Gerwen. Any of those stick out?
Yeah, I mean, them two are massive, obviously. But there's others, you know, Michael Smith in the UK Open, again at Blackpool. Obviously, he wasn't a world champion then, but he was on the cusp of being great. And then go back to 2007 with Scott Waite's final of the Dutch Open. That was massive, 4,000 entries. Get to the final, he's brilliant, and I enjoyed every bit of it. But yeah, them two and Michael Smith obviously turn out as a highlight now.
You've talked about your brother Tony a couple of times. One of your highest averages, I remember I was commentating on it, a European Tour match, you averaged more than 110, beat him 6-0. How does that rank in?
Yeah, I was kind of hoping you'd mention that. Yeah, no, that was probably because we was in the back room and I was sitting with Mervyn King along a breakfast bar thing, and along the breakfast bar, and then you had all the boards going this way, and I was practicing on the nearest one to the breakfast bar. My brother was next to me trying to wind me up, and I'm hitting 45s and 60s and 45s and 45s, and he's like, well, they ain't going to be enough on that stage, are they, boy? You know, and I just laughed and looked at Merv, gave him a wink, he winked back, threw another 45 and 60, and then they called us up, and then things just went mental. It was great.
Mervyn King, actually, you mentioned him, he's a good friend of yours. I think your second highest average is against your brother, and your highest average is against Mervyn King, one of your best friends.
Yeah, he came down to my house, because I don't live far from Stansted, so he came down to my house, left his car there. My dad drove us to Stansted to fly together. And when we were on the runway, Stephen Bunting walked on. He went, have you seen the draw, lads? I was like, no. Oh, you got him? I was like, oh, great. I think it was Austria. And when we got there, we done our normal thing, practiced together. There's nothing wrong with that. And when we got on the stage again, it just clicked. And I think it was 111 or something silly then. And, you know, he said to me, oh, you'll never do that again. And then I played him again and averaged 109 and beat him. So it did happen again, and it was great.
Who needs enemies with friends like you?
Yeah, exactly. I don't need friends.
Looking at your performances, I think one of the big aspects of your game has always been your grouping. When that first dart is right, you tend to follow it. One of the problems is when it's just outside the double, you tend to follow it as well. Yeah,
I've got a tendency to drift. So if I hit the first one in a 5, chances are 9 times out of 10 that second one is going to follow. Although I feel like I've adjusted, I don't quite adjust enough, and it might go towards it, catch flight and stay in. But I've got a little bit better with that, I must admit. But you know, I don't know what that is. I can't put a finger on it. So
yeah, I've watched many matches where players have missed darts at double, but your matches you tend to miss them by such a small amount.
I do, but like if I've got one in my hand, I'll hit it. If I've got 3 in my hand, in my head, I've got a problem because I'm either putting one right close, or if it's too close, I'm going way inside and then having to chase. And I don't know why that is either, because you feel like you've done the right thing, throw the dart, and then when it leaves your hand, you're like, oh, God. It's hard to put a finger on it and go, that's what's wrong. I don't know.
You picked up titles in the BDO. PDC, you came close, final against Van Gerwen. In fact, you mentioned it, a drift into the 5, wasn't it, on a 110?
On a 110 at 5-all.
Yeah.
You know, and them sort of things have probably cost me a lot of success, if we can say it that way. And you know, I've been in finals and lost them like that way. Been 4-0 up and lost 5-4, or you know, I don't know what it is.
Unfinished business in the PDC. Then, do you think, is that the aim, to get back there to play on the Pro Tour again?
Yeah. I honestly thought I'd be devastated when I lost my tour card, and truth is, I'm not. And there's two reasons for that. Number one is I'm waiting for my hip replacement to be replaced.
Right, okay.
So I was told I was going in January, and that's never progressed. So I didn't do Q School for that reason mainly. And then I'm not really looking to do Q School again, if that makes sense, because this sort of thing takes the pressure off and gives you more access to a lot more darts, if you know what I mean.
He's good in. He's moved me on to my next question. Motor Super Series, mixed fortunes here. Won your week last time, then you get to Champions Week.
With a dodgy eye.
Yeah, go into the last match in Group C, playing Justin Hood. He's already eliminated. You've got to win that to go through. Lose it in the last leg decider. Look, obviously we didn't speak to you after that, but what are your reflections now?
Next time I see Justin, I'll speak to him about it. But no, he comes out and he plays his darts. And yes, I was 3-1 up. Yes, I mismatched darts, whatever. But if it don't go, it don't go. And there's not a lot. I was angry, don't get me wrong. I was really upset. But you can't change the clock. You know, it is what it is. You've done. You're out. Hopefully make it better next time. And if I can do that, I'll be happy.
And you have played some really good stuff here. So surely this is sort of a new ambition, isn't it, to pick up a title, not just a weekly one, but a whole series title.
Yeah, look, the weekly title's great, and it's a debut title as well. So on debut winning the big check and going home happy as Larry, I obviously put too much on myself, pressure-wise, to win the big one. And that's basically what it come down to, because, you know, we're getting married. I want to pay for that, clear it out, and, you know, we've all got debts and stuff like that. I've got loads of it. But I think I put too much pressure on it because I saw that as a little bit of an out. Not this time. This time it's just play darts, enjoy it, and go home.
Right, 3 quick-fire questions to finish, starting with all darts-related. Biggest regret?
Not winning a title in the PDC.
Biggest achievement, best moment?
Beating Michael in the European Championships, because he was lodging it in a swimming pool the day before. So
that's Michael van Gerwen.
Yes.
And one thing that you still want to achieve?
I still want to win. I just still want to win. You know, the hunger's there. Maybe the body's fading away a bit and the eyes are dodgy and, you know, but I still want to win things. I don't want to sit at home and be like, well, I could have done. I want to do.
Well, we look forward to seeing it, Steve. Been a pleasure.
Excellent. Thanks, Chris.
And so, Steve West
10.
comes back for more match darts.
Game,
And
shots,
Steve West
and the match, and the Motor Super Series
navigates
Week
his
5
way
champion,
back to Champions Week.
Steve West.
West returns to the top table at the Super